All right. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you all are doing well this morning. If you give me a few moments, we will go ahead and get started. Waiting for some more of our community to join us. We are live right now on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And today's agenda is we're just going to read Heal Your Way Forward, Chapter 1. If you have your hardcover book, Chapter 1 starts on, this is my edited page, edited version. Chapter 1 of Heal Your Way Forward begins on page 17. And we're probably going to go from today, this morning, from page 17 to about page, ooh, wait, wow. All right, we're going to go to page from 17. I'm not sure where, but if you want to read along with me, I'm also going to show it on the screen. We are going to read again um, the first chapter of Heal Your Way Forward. And we're going to be in community this morning. So thank you for staying tuned and hanging out. If you're on Instagram, welcome. If you want to read with me, you might want to grab your copy of Heal Your Way Forward. Many people will say, "Oh my gosh, your voice is so amazing on the audiobook." And I said, "That's not my voice." Hey, good morning. A lot of people say they're surprised, like, "That's not your voice?" No, that's not my voice. And that's okay. But I thought it would be great to get in the practice of building community by reading together this morning. And I'm very excited for the opportunity to do so. I always try to do a heart check in before I get started with reading today. So, friends, this morning, how's your heart, mind, and soul? Some questions we should pose to ourselves. How is your heart, mind, and soul this morning? And usually in the mornings, one of the things that I've gotten is I've tried to figure out ways to curate how to navigate the current reality of the world that exists here in America. And, I've been really reminding myself about the importance of wanting to have a regulated nervous system. When my nervous system gets dysregulated, I am not a nice person, right? When my nervous system is dysregulated, I am not a good mother, a good partner, a good co conspirator. And this morning I woke up and my nervous system was so dysregulated. I didn't sleep well. I got this something going on the side of my neck. And I was just like, oh my God. And then on top of that, you know how you can get the flood of what happened the day before? So I want to remind everybody that when we think about how is our mind, heart, and soul, we have to think of like how that also impacts our nervous system. And our nervous system is part of like our parasympathetic nervous system. It's all a part of how our body moves and how well we are in the world. And so just want to read someone share about how they are doing today, how their heart, mind, and soul. Jessica says that feeling weighed down from the weight from the world changes. Feeling weighed down from the world changes. Is anybody else feeling that this morning? Is anybody else feeling weighed down from the world changes? Before we jump into reading, just doing quick heart checks real quick. Let me just show you what this person said. I'm learning how to utilize this new cool software we have. But this is how someone feels today, feeling weighed down by the world's changes. And it could be a lot because the world is going through rapid changes. And a lot of us knew we would shift, but we were like, huh, right? So, how do you take care of yourself when you're feeling weighed down by the weight of the world, right? How do you show up for yourself first and the collective? And I think a lot of people were all somewhere in between, but it's all just too much. And it is, but you can take care of yourself when it feels like it's all too much. And you have to give yourself permission to do that because we have been socialized in this reality to do for others first before yourself. And that's not helping your nervous system. And so I also know that feeling of feeling weighed down from the world's changes because you probably feel powerless, that there's nothing that you can do. And I think one of the first things we have to remember that you can do is that you can take care of yourself. Give yourself permission to contract, expand, and contract. And so one of the things that I had to do is I have to, because I know the news is a cycle and it's really beautiful in our collective, the Heal Your Way Forward collective. We really talked about how what state sponsored media looks like. And if you ever paid attention to the news, so I watch a certain channel and then I compare it to the BBC. So if you ever watch the news, it'll give you one full cycle for about 5 minutes, take a commercial break, and it's the same cycle. It's a repetitive cycle. So everything that we're seeing, it is important that we know what's going on. But I want you all to know that it's such a repetitive cycle that it can create dysregulation in your nervous system because it creates you in a state of panic, in a state of shock. And you guys know, like, post-secondary trauma is real. I wrote an article about that a couple years ago. And shock Stockholm syndrome is also real. So you're kind of stuck. And I want everyone to know that this is intentional, that it is very intentional that you are bombarded with so much information they want you to give up. Just like it's intentional that they want you to get off social media. Because if you get all of us who are pro liberation, pro healing, pro humanity, pro whatever, all the pro words, if you get all of us off these apps, you only are going to get a single sided story. And that's what they want, is a single sided narrative. Now you have your reasons for wanting to get off these apps and in the state sponsored, why you need to be informed. But I want to ask you a question. Is being that disinformed helping you, or is it hurting you? How can you gauge how much to take in and how much to take off? This is what we need to start thinking about. If I know for the next 4 years, I'm going to have to deal with state sponsored media. If I know for the next 4 years, I have to be mindful, not careful. I have to be mindful how I show up in space. How can I make sure that my spirit is nurtured and nourished before I go show up somewhere else? And so for me, that looks like, since I recognize the cycle, they got 10 minutes of my attention in the morning, 10 minutes of my attention at night. And when I say at night, I mean at least right before my evening shower, because I know for me that water is healing. And I know that if I go get myself in the shower, if I go take a shower, I'm cleansing myself and rinsing out all of the information that everything that I have taken in. If you've been following me for the last few weeks, I keep giving you the reminder that what you see with your eyes and what you hear with your ears, these are all gateways. Everything that you allow in and out, and you're just letting it impact you, as a gateway. And if you're not doing something, dancing, twerking, a mindfulness meditation, different regulatory activities to get yourself in a state of calm, you are going to continue to be in flight, fawn, freeze, or flee. Those are usually the 4 ways that our nervous systems or our anxiety shows up. We either want to run, we either get apathetic and we freeze. And I bet you a lot of folks who are watching this, or even the replay, your body is in a freeze and you don't even know it. And so I want to empower you all to start gauging how much you're going to take in. Start curating how much you're going to take in, and stop looking at the problems, because there are solutions. Everyone, oh my gosh, what do we do? What do we do? My Black elders and foremothers, my Indigenous elders and foremothers have all the solutions. You just need to go read. The problem is, in this culture, you think you have to create something new all the time, that you forget, in my culture, the practice of Sankofa, which is you look back for what, oh, that's what they did. Okay. And then you figure out how to take the work from the past and bring it in the front in a way that is sustainable, right? Everyone's like, how can I find balance? Well, in this social reality, there is the construct of time. One of the things that, before I was doing Check Your Privilege, I was helping people time block their day so that they had time for themselves, so they had time for their families. Every moment that I sit here and I watch the news, I don't know what my kids are doing. And I'm an unschooling mom. So if I'm glued into the TV for 3 hours, I'm not on top of what they need to be doing for school, and they could be playing Minecraft for 3 hours. You have to prioritize you and your need to be informed, aware, and be a part of a collective community. Time blocking. I think y'all call it the Pomodoro method. I can't pronounce it, where you work in time blocks. Like, if time is the construct in this reality, you got to make the time flow for you. So if you want to be aware, you want to take action, you have to go to your calendars and you have to time block. So for example, I just told you all, every morning I do the news, 10 minutes in the morning. I do my news for 10 minutes in the morning, get in the shower. Water is healing. Water is cleansing. After I'm in the shower, I'm giving myself, speaking life over myself, telling myself it's going to be a good day. And all my days aren't like this. Like I said at the top, I woke up irritated because I had to clean up dog throw up. The kitchen was a mess. I was a hot mess. And I don't want to be a dysregulated mother, partner, friend, community member, facilitator, guide, teacher, and I'm also not perfect. So giving myself permission to just be fucked up. But if you want to have a healthy balance of what you're taking in, we are going to have to start using the time, the social construct, and making it work for you. Dreaming how your time should work. That's the first way you start taking control of your time, taking control of your experience in this reality, is that you start deconstructing your relationship with time and making time work for you. And maybe you work a 9 to 5 and you're like, oh, that's too hard. I can't have kids. I'm a mom. Look at your calendar. Seriously, look at your calendar today, tomorrow, whenever you can, and say, okay, I'm going to give myself this much time for this much time for that. With social media, it's a little harder because you're scrolling. What I've started to do is I've actually started to log in from a desktop for social media. So I'm not sitting there and getting stuck in the scroll. I've literally started to do that with a timer, because if I don't set a timer, I am going to get caught in the matrix of the scroll. So you have to learn how to work and manipulate your relationship with time. And when you learn how to manipulate your relationship with time, right? There it is. Thank you so much for sharing that. So someone says here that someone listens to an NPR podcast and the stories are just for the first 15 minutes, and then allowing yourself 1 hour of Instagram a day. Yes. And another thing that I'm telling people is that whenever you take in with your eyes, you need to, if you have the ability to, try to stand up, move your body. Even if you raise your arms up and down, y'all remember PE, our PE is different than these kids' PE. Do the arm circles, put your hands on your chest, move around. If you have stairs, go up and down your stairs, because what's important is after you take in the information, what is your next move? I took in this information, so what is my next move? If your next move is just to sit there, that means you're in a freeze. Sometimes I have to watch something and sit, and I have to start clapping, because clapping is also a tool of nervous system regulation. But anywho, I just wanted to give that quick bit of information, because everything that they're throwing at us is intentional. It's to keep us in a freeze, to have us feeling powerless. And baby, I've been telling y'all since Monday, I don't feel powerless. We ain't going back. I trust the word of my elders and the ancestors and their journey. And I have to remember, as a Black woman in this country, a Black and Indigenous woman, let me correct myself, I have ancestral remembrance of how to navigate what's coming. And I have to remind myself and let y'all know, if you are in a white body, you don't have the ancestral remembrance that I have. Because for me, I can see everything that's happening and say, we've been here before, literally. And knowing that I've been here before, I have to practice the Sankofa to look back to see, how did my ancestors survive this? And then meet with the collectors and say, hey, yo, here it is in writing. This is what they did. What we finna do? Because we got two choices. We can stay in a freeze and let them use their power of the media, including social media, to make us feel powerless, or we can find the tools and ways to regulate our nervous systems so we don't feel like we're on a constant state of attack. Because let me tell you something, on a federal level, they might say there's only 2 genders, but when you come in with me, I'm gonna be like, okay, what's your preferred pronoun? How do you want to be recognized? Because you matter to me. I value what you want to be, who you want to be seen as in this current reality. They can get rid of DEIA. You can't get rid of us. You can't get rid of me. That's a crime against humanity. We have to start, like, everything that they're putting down, we have to start finding the life in it. Because if not, we're going to keep getting stuck in the cycle of, oh my gosh, we're powerless. No, the fuck we're not. Go back to your history books. If you've been in liberation work, then you need to read more Black liberatory texts. You need to read more Indigenous liberatory texts, not things, and I'm going to say it today, you don't need to read something that's written by someone who is in a white body, because they have taken the lived experience and their experience with people in Black and brown bodies and have written books about it, and y'all think that's it. That's why Heal Your Way Forward is so important. This book right here that we're about to read in a second, this book is important, because I'm not just telling you as white people what to do. I'm telling you how the system has fucked with me and what we need to do to go forward and what forward looks like. Just reminding all of us that none of us are powerless. And the more we allow the state-sponsored medias to distract us from who we are at the core of our being, our values, what we care about, and it first starts with learning to love yourself. Let's go there. And the collective. Otherwise, we all moving in codependency and interdependence. We got this. You got to believe in yourself. If you don't take anything else away from what I'm saying today, do me a favor and believe in hope and believe in possibility and believe in change, because it's here. It's possible. You have to allow yourself to see it and believe it. But it's so easy to get hopeless and not faithful. It's so easy to go to hopelessness than faithfulness. I was saying the other day, I'm going to go live with Michelle tomorrow. We're going to talk about the difference between hope and faith. It is really easy for us to go straight into hopelessness, except instead of faithfulness. This shit is fucked up, but I have faith that things will work out. Can we keep it real? Like we had a school shooting yesterday. Come on now, it's a lot. It's too much. It's way too much. And we got to face the reality of our feelings, but you have to face them, feel them, and do something about it, because the more we allow ourselves to wallow, the more that we give our power away. And I think one of the ancestors said, it might be Maya Angelou, the easiest way to give your power away is to think that you don't have any. The easiest way to give your power away is to think that you don't have any. And when I say power, I'm not meaning power in the way of the industrial complex, ableism, white supremacy, patriarchy, imperialism, colonization. When I say power, I don't think that, because I believe that power is within each one of us and that we share power as a collective. But if we're going to keep sitting here thinking that we're going to just keep, face it, feel everything. And then we have to face it and we have to do something about it. Face it, feel it, do something about it. But if you're just in a freeze, call a therapist, find a movement group. Because I'm still living with long COVID. And sometimes I'm in the bed and I'm like, I should get up. And that's my cue to get up. Like when Mel Robbins did the 5-second rule and she said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that is the fastest way to get out of a functional freeze. And we're taking in so much on our cell phones and on the TV that we're in functional freeze and we don't even know it because we're just noticing. So find something that when you find that you're not in your body, how can I recognize my feelings? I can write about it. Cool, I can journal. I can use my voice app and do a voice notes recording of my voice. Start connecting with self, connect with your community, and then we got to start getting to solutions, because they're doing it fast on purpose because they know we'll get tired. You have the power, and the power first starts with you deconstructing your relationship with time, the social construct, and then reclaiming time that works for you. I remember when Senator Maxine Waters said, I'm reclaiming my time, and we ate that all up. Reclaim your time, feel your feelings, face your feelings, and then we got to move into action, not hopelessness. All right. So now we're about to read Heal Your Way Forward, Chapter 1. If you have your book, we're going to start on page 17. And if you don't have your book, I do believe I'm able to share my screen. And I had to use the PDF today, y'all, because I got a copyright strike for being on Amazon. So we're going to read chapter 1 of Heal Your Way Forward. We're going to start on page 17 if you are in your hardcover book. And what I'm doing is I'm reading and I'm also giving you all backstory. So yay for that. Yay for the wisdom of that. If you're watching on any of the apps, again, we are going to start on page, oh Lord, this is what I got to do when I use the PDF, on page 17. I didn't have this ready. I woke up late. Close your eyes, y'all. If you have low vision or you're blind and this bothers you. Remember when your teacher used to do this? Remember when we used to have, when the teacher used to use the projector? This feels like the projector. All right, so we're on chapter 1, the co-conspirator's journey. Let's see if I can make this shake. If it's page 17 in your hardcover book, open it up, and if you got it with you, you ain't even got to say amen, because this ain't church. All right, here we go. Chapter 1. Starts with a quote from Oprah Winfrey. It says, no matter where you are on your journey, that's exactly where you need to be. The next road is always ahead. Oprah Winfrey. First line, Welcome to exactly where you need to be. If you are here, then you have been called in to do the work, called in to show up in a different and more powerful way, called in to heal your way forward. But I'm here to tell you healing isn't a one time event, it's not a linear process. Healing is lifelong work because the more you heal, the more work is revealed to you, and usually the more work we have to do. It's normal to come into this work ready to pull up our sleeves and get our hands dirty. And that's why most co conspirators move straight into performative action rather than trusting the call of the real work, the call to trust the messy and complicated process of unlearning, relearning, being in community, and working toward the collective goal. Pause. Um, Don't pause. So, what is the goal? Page 17. We are here to build a new way forward that centers leadership, life, and journeys of Black, Brown, Indigenous, Southeast Asian, page 18, Asian American, Pacific Islander, and other marginalized persons of color. I believe that as children, we are born into the world faultless, knowing nothing of the world or its expectations. But over time, we are shaped and conditioned by whatever world is around us. For those of us who have with adverse childhood experiences, we grow up as wounded healers looking for guidance to move forward. We search for ourselves in people, places, and things. From childhood, we have been socialized to seek happiness outside of ourselves rather than experience happiness as an extension of who we are. It isn't until we make the conscious choice to heal that we move away from the idea that a system or series of rules sets the standards for what liberation means to us. When we choose to heal, we recognize this journey as a life calling. And when we heal ourselves, we help heal humanity. Now, I want to pause. A lot of you don't agree with me when I say this, and I'm going to say this right now. Your label of anti racism work, oh, I have to find my screen again. Sorry, y'all. A lot of people like to walk around and say, I'm an anti-racist. I'm a feminist. I'm a this. I'm a that. You're throwing labels on your identity, forgetting that you are trying to perform and or live up to those identities, so you really don't know who you are. That's why I continuously say, I don't care what words you're using. If it's connected to social justice and anti-racism work, it is healing work. Because if all you're doing is signing petitions and taking action, and you're not and you're trying to burn down the system because the system just showed all of us you can't burn us down. We're gonna keep working the way we want to until you work on your individual journey of healing, your interpersonal relationships. Everything's gonna keep doing the thing that it's doing right now. This is all healing work because it requires you. It requires, I hate to say requirements, it sounds like rules. You have to learn how to slow down, stop, and answer the call. Am I ready to step into my healing and go forward? Or am I going to keep doing things the same way I have done them? Which is breaking news. Oh my gosh, somebody got murdered. Let me go sign a petition. Let me go to a protest. Okay, I've done my work. Great. Go back to the way things are. And now it's holy shit. All this stuff is happening in real time, and I am in a freeze. What do I do? Many of you are in that, oh my God, I'm powerless. There's nothing I can do. And I really believe that because we've spent so much time trying to tear down a system that has been showing us for about a week now what they really about, not even a week, it's been 3 days or something like that. They've really been showing us what Black and Brown and Indigenous and Southeast, we have been telling people this. This is what they about. And y'all are like, oh, we'll just show up and perform when someone gets hurt instead of stopping and pausing. And I got to heal. This is healing. I got to do some real deep work. And now here we are in it, and you can still be in shock and be doing this work. Let me keep it 100. But many folks say they've been doing this work and you only been doing it when something happens. You are not doing it every single day of your life. You're only doing it when the system treats you like you a redhead stepchild. That's what we used to say in my culture. You only move in an emergency. You only move in urgency. You're not on a continual path because most anti-racism books tells you take action, do this, do that. That's why I call white affinity groups cults, because all y'all doing in them groups is taking action. Do you really know the person that you're in community with? Are you building relationships? And before you can even do that, do you really know yourself? That is why this is a healing journey, because there is so much in your own life that you have to unpack. And then really think about, why am I in these relationships? What do they mean? And am I willing to put myself and walk through a self-love journey and then take my relationships through that same journey to really see if this is the life I want to live and still be taking action at the same time? Because there's no such thing as a single issue struggle, because we don't live single issue lives. And I believe that's Audre Lorde. All right, let's go back to the book. Let's see what the good book here says to us. Heal Your Way Forward. We're on page 18. All right, so what is the co-conspirator's journey? In my words, the co-conspirator's journey is our reminder that healing is the only path forward. When we continue to work from our wounded places, either ignoring or causing harm, we are only walking backward from our humanity and backward into our history. We are being drawn back into the pattern of our ancestors and our ancestral oppressors. When we move forward, we heal humanity. It's like the concept of Ubuntu, an Ngunyi Bantu word from the people of Southern Africa, which means humanity towards others is often translated to I am because we are. The co-conspirator's journey begins with awareness, followed by a call to action, and then requires us to face ourselves and our misdoings, including those that have brought us shame. The fear of shame or facing shame can lead us to ghost the entire process. Pause. What is ghosting? All of us know it. It's a dating term. I threw it in here because I feel like white bodies ghost me all the time. Y'all be showing up and be about that life, and then the next thing you know, you just disappear. And you be like, damn, what I do? But I've learned to not take it personal. So if you've ghosted good, this is a whole chapter on ghosting in this book. If you ghosted good, now it's time to recommit. I want today for y'all to recommit to ghosting is normal. If you've ever dated somebody you've been really into and you've been ghosting, you know what that feels like. So imagine Black and brown folk and indigenous folk holding space and compassion and being facilitators and guidance, holding all this space, and then y'all just only show up when something goes wrong. We need consistency, okay? Let me keep going. We're going to go to page 19 if you're in your book. The fear of shame can lead us to ghost the entire process, which, top of page 19, is just another backward step into ancestral harm and complicity in imperialist, capitalist, ableist, and white supremacy racism. Shame is an important part of the process. In order to be a true co-conspirator, you must turn the light on shame to grapple with the lessons that we need to learn. Shame can be a catalyst and a teacher, but only if we move with it or through it. Then we can fail our way forward to heal. But the fear of shame or refusing to move through the actions it requires to unlearn those old supremacy tools can lead you to analysis paralysis, ultimately keeping well-intentioned co-conspirators from moving toward in their work and often leading them to ghost the process of growth. That was a whole lot. Let's read that part again. Shame is an important part of the process. In order to be a true, let's highlight it actually. Oh man. All right, y'all see this highlighted? Y'all see this? I love how I could just do this in real time with y'all. I feel real good this morning. Hello. I feel like I'm at church. Shame is an important part of the process. In order to be a true co-conspirator, we must turn the light on shame in order to sincerely grapple with the lessons that we need to learn. Shame can be a catalyst and a teacher, but only if we move through it, then we can fail our way forward to heal. But the fear of shame or refusing to move through the actions it requires to unlearn those old supremacist tools can lead to analysis paralysis, ultimately keeping well-intentioned co-conspirators from moving forward in their work and often lead them to ghosting the process of growth. For every minute that you don't move forward, for every minute that you run away and go back, you are being complicit. You are being complicit. I'm talking to folk, all of us. For every moment that we sit here in this shock and awe and in a freeze and say, there's nothing I can do, there is something you can do, because you are not powerless. None of us are. And this is where we get stuck. I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to highlight this part and then we're going to stop here. Now I'm going to read the next part. Here we go. Many co-conspirators get stuck in this phase of the journey. Have you ever been caught up in your head thinking about the worst case scenario that you freeze and become immobile to take the next step of action? The fear of getting it right leads to a freeze, and the freeze is so uncomfortable, it's just easier to flee than stay and fight alongside the people you were working with to support. That's very powerful. This speaks to the moment that we are in. And I wrote this book 4 years ago. Here we are. I got to stop for a second because I feel a word coming. Remember how I said in the beginning that if you're stuck in a freeze, we know that the ancestors, there's work that we can look back and go look at and bring it forward to help us remember what to do to move forward. Here this is in real time with all of you all. Something that was written 3 years ago, and I'm speaking this because I live into my work. I live it every day. It's right here. What's happening right now, many of us are stuck in a freeze and we're getting uncomfortable. Discomfort is the teacher. So instead of being uncomfortable, we stop. We stop. Like, okay, it's too much. It's too much. And it is a lot. But that's why you have to deconstruct your relationship with time so it doesn't have to feel like too much. All right. So let's talk about Brittany. One co-conspirator I work closely with is a woman named Brittany, a white wife and mother who runs a small animal sanctuary in Georgia. And Brittany has been on her journey now for, if CYP is 7 years old this year, 7 years. Whew. And describes freeze as feeling trapped in a state of constant mental and emotional overwhelm where fear turns into apathy, leaving me powerless to do anything. Let me make that bigger so you all can see it. All right. I'm going to use Brittany's words. She says that she felt trapped in a state of constant mental and emotional overwhelm where self-doubt and fear turned to apathy, leaving me feeling powerless to do anything. And I want to just ask this question, if you're still here. Are any of you all feeling this way right now? Are any of you all feeling like this, straight up feeling trapped in a state of mental and emotional overwhelm where self-doubt and fear is moving you to apathy and you feel powerless to do anything? If so, this is a reminder that it's normal to feel that way. What will happen though, if you are not careful to catch yourself, you will ghost. And if you are in a white body, now is not the time for you to ghost the journey. Please. Let's finish reading Brittany's story. So maybe you'll find some light in your journey right now. All right. Let's read some more of Brittany's story. So we read that section. Here's the quote. I'm going to take this off the screen. This experiencing of analysis paralysis took Brittany down the path of ghosting her process. While ghosting is typically used as a dating term, the context of the co-conspirator's journey, it occurs from the discomfort that arises when someone moves away from the psychological and emotional safety, which most white folks in the United States and abroad live and are born in. When our safety is threatened, it is easier for us to emotionally flee. Ghosting comes when we choose to stay comfortable. Comfort is not a teacher in life. Discomfort offers the lessons we need to learn. So if you are feeling the freeze, it is your threat to your psychological, emotional safety that because of privilege you actually have in this country. And now your psychological and emotional safety feel threatened. So you will want to move with and move on from, you will want to just stay in the freeze and you will ghost and become apathetic. Do not become apathetic. You have to resist. And the first step in resistance is reclaiming your time, imagination, creativity, and play. But I'm going to talk about that maybe when we finish this book. All right. So, reading more from what Brittany shares, I'm going to stop here, right here. I might go down to page 20 and stop at collectively. All right. So, our victory on this journey is waking up from comfort and reawakening to healing. And healing is not a comfortable journey. If you've ever broken or a bone or sprained an ankle, you know healing can be more painful, uncomfortable, and frustrating than the original injury. And yet, it is a biological recovery requirement for recovery. Together, all of us, we are recovering from the past, we are healing it forward. Healing our epigenetic DNA will allow us to rewire our brains and face the memories of our ancestral past. When we heal the 14 generations before us, we heal 14 generations in the future. When we think about our ancestral past, two ideas come to mind. For me, epigenetics and traumatic stress. And I'm not the expert in either, but what I know for sure is that if you fail to heal, it will show up and impact your relationship in a variety of ways. Here's a great example. If you, like me, you might have grew up with a generation of parenting that you did, as you said, your thoughts, feelings, and emotions didn't matter. Here I am, a parent, and it takes a lot of work for me not to make my kids or other children feel like their feelings and thoughts don't matter. And it took for me to be in my early 30s and learn about social emotional learning and go through my own therapy journey to know, oh, these are little humans. They're the teachers. Imagine that. And I still struggle with it. Can we keep it real? Because I'm never going to sit up here and pretend like I don't yell at my kids or whatever. But what I've learned to do, though, is to help them heal that trauma, because that trauma was passed down to me, is say, man, y'all, I really got out of control. My apologies. Keep calling me out. When you see this behavior, I let my kids call me out. I let my kids call me out with intention. I let my kids call me out with intention because it reminds them that, one, we have a voice in the world, which means that in their future, if somebody tries to pull it on them, they'll say, I have 3 kids, and 2 out of 3 say, respectfully, Mom, respectfully, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm not trying to be disrespectful towards you, Mom, but I think you need to slow down and take a break. And all this started with me using something with my kids called the zones of regulation. And the zones of regulation taught me to work with my kids to say, what colorful zone are you in? I've showed it to y'all here on this platform before. What zone are you in? And through them telling me the zones, now they're like, I could be hella pissed off. Like, Mom, you're tripping, you're tripping, you're tripping, you're tripping. And it clicks, oh shit, I'm tripping. And eventually I apologize. But again, the trauma, the DNA, what's in your body? What's in my body is that I'm the boss of these kids. I'm in charge. I'm the authority. But how am I healing that up? I'm not the boss of them. They actually teach me more about myself than I fucking know about myself. Right? That's the epigenetics that I'm speaking about. All right. So let's do this. According to the CDC, epigenetics is the study of how your behaviors, environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes work. And unlike genetic changes, epigenetic changes are reversible and do not change your DNA sequence, but they can change how your body reads a DNA sequence. From this definition, we can see the benefits of changed behavior over time and how it can impact in which we take our healing journeys individually and collectively. In terms of trauma, Dr. Rachel Yehuda, director of the Traumatic Stress Studies Division at the Econ Medical School at Mount Sinai in New York City, conducted a 2015 study on children of 40 Holocaust survivors. She found that they had epigenetic changes to a gene linked at their levels of cortisol, a hormone involved in the stress response. She also found the distinctive pattern of DNA methylation and another genetic marker. The study concluded that both parents and unborn children were affected at a genetic level. The co-conspirator's journey requires constant evaluation and interrogation. We must look at the stories of our ancestors, evaluating where they went wrong in order to finally make the buck stops here. The quick decision. Okay, this ends with me. It's a journey of choice, and it requires a deep examination into the self, allowing us to thoroughly uncover the roots of who we are in hopes of showing up differently in the world. It is a journey similar to the hero's journey, wherein the ancestral hero goes on an adventure, struggles through an existential crisis in order to reach the goal and learn the lessons before returning home and beginning the journey again. This journey is a calling into purpose, to understand who we are called to be and why we are chosen to serve. We don't know the purpose of our journey until we take the first step into the unknown. And the purpose of the co-conspirators is a courageous journey of serving others, not just for the world we live in today, though the world certainly needs a whole lot of healing, but for our children and our children's children and our children's children's children. Purpose drives passion, and passion is what drives ongoing systemic change. And we're going to stop here at page 21. It's when I start telling my personal story to connect more with the reader. But I really want you all to, couple things. If you don't have yourself a copy of Heal Your Way Forward, you can go order the hardcover, or you can pre-order the paperback. You can get Heal Your Way Forward at Bookshop, Barnes and Nobles, wherever you want to shop. If you are in the local Las Vegas, Henderson area, you might even be able to get yourself a signed copy of Heal Your Way Forward. What just popped up for me is Amazon. You can listen to it on Spotify, but the paperback comes out in March. But so I highly recommend you pre-order the paperback, yay, and or grab you a copy of this book from your favorite retailer, Bookshop, Reparations Club. Grab you a copy of Heal Your Way Forward, because if you really want to keep going and go ahead of me, you can, or you just go press play on Spotify, and then you'll be like, that is not Maisha's voice. So that's what we did today. We read chapter 1. It's called Heal Your Way Forward. We're on page 21. Let me see if I can screen share before I drop off today. Here it is. Heal Your Way Forward, The Co-Conspirator's Guide to an Anti-Racist Future. This is the book that I wrote 3-4 years ago. Maybe it was 3 years ago. Yeah, my math ain't math. And 3 years ago, it released in August of 2023. Our paperback is coming out in March, but it's The Co-Conspirator's Guide to an Anti-Racist Future. This book is for folks, for everybody. Hella people have been impacted by this book, Black, Indigenous, mainly white, because I share parts of myself and my story with the hope that people can see themselves in my story on either side of the fence. Every chapter comes with a set of reflection questions. So I'm hoping you are taking notes from chapter 1, because we are going to go through the reflection questions when we get to the end of chapter 1. It is my hope and intention to read this live every day at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time with y'all here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, family. Really want to empower you to get a copy for yourself, for your friend, for your coworker, for that supervisor that really thinks they woke, but they really not. If you need me to sign some copies for you to give to that one coworker, boss, friend that thinks they woke, but they really not, let me know. Slide in the DMs. We do answer our DMs here. But yeah, so we read chapter 1 from pages 17 to the right before 21, where I tell my story. I hope that you heard some things today that helps you think about your day differently, that helps you move into the world a little bit differently. Remember that first piece that I shared at the beginning. Start to try to reclaim your relationship with time. Start reclaiming your time. Because if you don't reclaim your time, you will kind of go into that fear and apathy that we shared, and you can watch this replay. If you don't reclaim your relationship with time, you will be in apathy and you will ghost. And we do not need white bodies ghosting right now. Like, we need y'all to help to really be on the front lines, if you feel me. Also, if you do watch this replay, you'll see the part where I'm just like, wow, I wrote this 3-4 years ago and we're living this out in real time. That means that there are always lessons from the past that you can pull out on your journey, whether you believe it or not, or whether you like it or not. There are always lessons from the past. You have to be open to wanting to see them and open to want to move with them and move through them. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today's live stream. Thank you for allowing me to read Heal Your Way Forward. If you are looking to build deeper community, you can join us in our co-conspirators. I don't even know where it is. You can join us in our co-conspirators collective. That's clicking all of our links on social media, and it'll take you to our community. We're going to be launching some other really great things here in the next few days, so stay tuned. Again, thank y'all for spending time with me this morning. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that it was empowering. And until I see you guys tomorrow morning, twice tomorrow morning, keep living into your work. Peace, friends.